Hello students, I am very happy to interact with you after a long time. You all know me, myself Vijaynagar. I believe all of you are fine and safe and staying at home. Let us make use of this time in a more useful, constructive manner. Let's go ahead with the next lesson in our syllabus. And today I like to begin with the first poem in our textbook titled Flamingos. And the name of the poem is My Mother at 66, composed by Kamala Das, who is also very popularly known as Madhavi Kutty. She is a famous poet who writes about the subtle, sensitive, complex human relationships. Definitely, it is a very thought-provoking poem. Today, we all know that many youth, children, they stay away from their home, away from their parents, maybe for work, maybe for studies, whatever it be. Nevertheless, today it has become a reality, a compulsion of the modern times. The poet is concerned about it. Have we ever thought what our parents want from us, expect from us when our parents become old? Probably they do not need our wealth, our money, the comforts that we are ready to provide, the mobiles, computers, and so on. What they need is our love, our care, our companionship, and our physical presence. In this poem, we are going to take up the poetess is going away from her ancestral home, from her parental home to her place of work. You know, when we go for a long journey, our close friends, relatives come to leave us, see us off at the railway station or at the airport. Here, the poetess is driving towards Cochin airport in her car, and her mother is also sitting beside her by her side. Looking at the pale, dull face of her mother, the feelings that arise in the mind of the poetess is narrated to us through this poem, My Mother at 66. Let us read the poem. I request you to go through the text of the poem along with me. Okay, students, let us read the poem once. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, doors open-mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away and looked out at young trees spreading, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her wan, pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." All I did was smile and smile and smile. Let us come back to the poem from the beginning once again. As I said, the poetess was driving towards Cochin airport the previous Friday. Her mother, who was old, was also sitting beside her. Driving from my parents' home, obviously she was driving from her parents' home, her ancestral parental home, to Cochin, to board the plane. As they are driving towards Cochin airport, she noticed that her mother, who was sitting beside her, by her side, was sleeping. Doze. Doze means to sleep. That happens when we are on journey, when we are traveling, many people falls asleep. And especially those who are old, they are more likely to fall asleep, and when they sleep, sometimes their mouth also is opened. That's what has happened here. Her mother was sitting beside her in the car with her mouth open, her face ashen like that of a corpse. The poet again looks at the pale face of her mother, and she compares her face, her mother's face, lifeless face, to ash. Ashen like that of a corpse. Corpse is a dead body. Ashen means like ash. Ash is the substance, the particles that remain when we have burned something. And ash is also symbolic of dullness, lifelessness, sorrow, and so on. There's a comparison the poet has used. In poetry, we call it a simile. There's a figure of speech, the poetic device used by the poet, namely simile. She compares the dull, lifeless face of her mother to ash, and also to a corpse. Corpse is a dead body. Obviously, it is lifeless. When she looks at her face, the face that is lifeless, she also realizes something with pain. That is, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked. The poet realizes that her mother is growing old. She is getting old. That will definitely make her all the more sorrowful, especially when you are going away from her. When they are old, if they are sick, the fear, the pain would be there inside you, within you. And she says that she was as old as she looked. She looked very old, but soon put that thought away. Look at that beautiful line. She puts that thought away. She is disturbed. She is troubled by the very thought that her mother is old. Obviously, the very many fears would be there in her mind. When she returns, will she be there? And that thought troubles her, disturbs her. And when some thoughts disturb you, what do? You like to put those thoughts away from your mind. And one thing that we can do to put a certain disturbing thought away from our mind is to think of something else. And that's what she does here exactly. And looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. She looks outside. And when we travel, the trees outside the vehicle, outside the car, appears to be also moving. That's what she noticed. She notices that the trees are sprinting. Sprinting means moving quickly, running. And the second thing that she noticed is the merry children who were spilling out of their homes. It must have been a holiday time. And children early in the morning, they move out of their homes, out of their house to spend their time in games, fun, play, and so on. They were spilling out. Spilling out means moving in big numbers in a hurried manner. In fact, here the poet is making a contrast. A contrast between the mother, who is weak, pale, old, and lifeless. She is contrasted with the trees. Again, look at the adjectives used. The trees which are young, lively, moving, running. And the children we all know, they are full of life, liveliness, agile, active. That the contrast the poet is trying to make through these lines. But after the airport security check, obviously they are moving towards the airport. They have now reached the airport, and standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, wan, pale as a late winter's moon. At the airport, the security check is there. Only the passenger is allowed to move in. You have to stand at a distance. And the poetess, once again, before she goes away to board the plane, looks at her mother. And the mother is the same. She is weak. She is sad. Okay, her face is wan and pale. Wan means colorless. Her face has lost that color, that liveliness. It has become pale or dull. This again she compares with something. Let's see the next line. As a late winter's moon and felt that old familiar ache. The face of the mother is again compared to a moon in late winter. Again, it's a beautiful example of a simile. As a late winter's moon. What is special about a moon in winter? In winter, moon loses its shine. It is no more very bright. It loses its shine, its luster. It is pale, in other words, almost lifeless. And looking at it, the same pain, the old familiar ache of her childhood's fear comes back to her mind. What was that familiar pain, ache, her childhood's fear? That was two fears are there. Often it's asked in the exam. What was the childhood's fear? One, the fear of aging. To know that you yourself or others are growing old. They are becoming old. And second is the fear of separation. You will be separated. You are going to be separated. That is, again, most of the children are very much under this fear. They don't like to be separated from their parents. Okay? This fear comes back to the poet's mind. But though she was disturbed by this fear that again arose in her heart, in her mind, it was time for her to move ahead, and she bids goodbye to her mother in the following manner. Let's read the last two lines. But all I said was, see you soon, Amma. And all I did was smile and smile and smile. The poetess bids farewell, bids goodbye to her mother in two different ways. First and foremost, she says something. That is, she says, see you soon, Amma. It's a very important part of the poem, the last part of the poem. What does it symbolize? Often it is asked in the exam. See you soon, Amma is an assurance that the poetess wants to give to her mother who is old. She is very optimistic. She is very hopeful that hope is there, that they would definitely meet again. Definitely we all know that when we go away from our parents who are old, the fear would be there always, whether they would be able to meet again when we return. And here the poetess gives this assurance, don't worry, Mama. We will definitely, certainly meet again. That assurance, that hope is given. And she also does something. And what is that? And all I did was smile and smile and smile. She gives a smile. It is not that she was very happy and she gives a smile when she's going away. No. In fact, smile here stands for her deliberate attempt to hide her pain. She's trying to hide her pain. She does not want to show her pain to her mother as well. And therefore, she gives a smile and bids goodbye to her mother. Look at the word smile which is repeated. There's again another poetic device used by the poet, repetition. Repetition means use of the same word again and again more than 2 times in the same line or in the adjoining lines. There's a poetic device, namely repetition. With this assurance, she bids goodbye to her mother. The remaining part of the poem, the exercises, question answers, I'll be sending you other notes after this. Thank you.